thoughts and prayers with Coach Smith's family, because college basketball lost not just a great coach, but a great man. I had the opportunity to, I think it was in '84, a long time ago, to compete against him. But growing up in that era of the end of Coach Wooden's coaching era, and then Coach Smith and Coach Knight, I had a chance to be around guys like that. And I got a lot of friends, from Buzz Peterson to Olympic teammate in Jordan, to that had nothing but incredible things to say about Coach Smith when we were together growing up playing this game. So it's a huge loss for college basketball. He meant an awful lot to the game and what he represented, and being able to kind of establish the Carolina way. So just on kind of behalf of UCLA basketball, I want to make sure that our thoughts and prayers go out to his entire family. Any questions?
How's Kavon's hip? He looked like he
Great. You know, he took. I was really worried about it when it happened, but he bounced back really quick. Didn't have any issues the rest of the game, and practiced hard yesterday, so no issues.
What was the biggest difference from your perspective in those two games in Stanford and Cal?
Well, they were similar in a lot of ways. You know, obviously we got bigger leads in the Stanford game, but you know, to have Stanford down 15 in one half and 22 in another half, that's a lot of good basketball that's been played. And then they got hot. The last 8 minutes, they got hot and got going. And Cal kind of had a really good last 4 minutes. And, you know, that was the frustrating. We've been on the other end of it till we've had a better 4 minutes. But the home team got going. It was a great atmosphere. Cal had a tremendous atmosphere, the best in our 2 years up there that we've seen. So, and then I went up there with the New Mexico team as well. So the atmosphere was great. They got going. They're hot. They're playing well. But the similarities were that I thought we played pretty well. You know, looking at the tape, our pace is better. We're screening and cutting and moving the ball much better. Defensively, we're contesting shots, which we really weren't doing 3 weeks ago. So I'm seeing young guys improve and mature, and they're having fun. They're playing with a little bit more spirit to them because they're a quiet group. And because of that, they're getting more success. And I think that's been a good thing. You know, we would have obviously liked to got both of them, and we were right there from getting both of them. But when I looked at the tape, it's not technical stuff. You know, we missed, whether it was key free throws or those types. There are not a whole lot of breakdowns. You know, the last shot that Tarwater hit was about as contested as you can contest a shot. You've got 6'9" Kavon Looney running at you, and he highly contested it. So they made some plays that you got to make, and we made those plays that you got to make against Stanford. So some similarities, but won a close one, lost a tight one.
This year and last, that second weekend game on the road has been especially difficult for you guys. Is that coincidence, or is it something that second game kind of get tired, wears you down a little?
You know, I don't know. You know, I think the teams are different. That one's a hard one. We haven't been able to. We've changed things up. One of the constants is we pretty much stay up. We don't come back and forth. So you're staying up there. Sometimes if it's Wednesday, Saturday, it gets to be long. But I think most of the trips so far this year have been Thursday, Saturdays for the most part. So they're not incredible long trips. But, you know, the Oregon trip, we didn't play particularly well in either one of them. And the same thing with the Utah-Colorado trip, that being our first trip in different circumstances because of coming off 3 losses going into that game, but that trip. This last trip, I thought we played well in both games. You know, looking at the film again, there wasn't a lot that, you know, we've been over it with the guys, but the effort, the intensity, the spirit of the way we want to play, we got that out of both games. So it's just not easy. You know, I think to get 2 wins in the road, you know, that I think probably takes some time. Last year's team probably a little bit more experienced and capable of it, but in the first year of us as a staff kind of going through it and traveling a little bit different. You know, I've never had travel partners at New Mexico or even Iowa, so it was different for us as a staff. So maybe that a little bit, trying to figure that out in the first year. This year, I think it's a little bit different for the team because it's the first trip for a lot of them to these places. And if it's not their first trip, guys like Bryce and Norman and Tony, they're in a totally different role than what they were a year ago. So, you know, that makes some difference too. And then who you're playing. You know, Stanford coming off a loss. You got Cal coming off, I think, 3 wins in a row. Just different demeanors, different mindsets that you get to play, and that has its variables too.
How much did the offense stalling in the last 2 games? How much does that have to do with fatigue?
Again, watching tape, I didn't see fatigue. I really didn't. Now, if you ask me that at Oregon State, Utah, Colorado, especially Utah and Colorado, absolutely. We looked like a tired basketball team when we were at Utah and at Colorado. There's no question. But on this trip, looking at it, our pace was good. I think part of that when you're young and inexperienced is who is going to take that last shot? Who is going to be the go-to guy? And we haven't had a lot of close games up until the last several, so maybe that's the team trying to figure those things out. The trust within this team has been incredible of how they've really developed that over the last 3 weeks. So I've liked that, and I like sometimes the ball moving, and the ball I thought moved well. We had low turnover games in both of them on the road, so it's kind of figuring out, okay, we've played for 35, 36 minutes. Now who's going to be the go-to guy? And maybe that's still in process. Maybe that's still, Norman obviously is going to be at the forefront of that. And he does a lot of good things for us, obviously. So Tony inside is going to be that. Kavan can be that. Isaac and Bryce can be that. So we've got a lot of confidence in any of them doing it. But in the flow of the game and tight games, who that guy's going to be, I think the guys are still working through that. But I didn't see fatigue in this road trip like I've seen in previous road trips.
Is there a sense that you guys are kind of entering this final stretch and you can only lose a game or 2 in the regular season to stay in the hunt for the NCAA tournament, or is
that hasn't been talked about? Really, we've talked about it being a fun stretch to where we've gone through a very difficult stretch. We were real close to getting our 3rd road win, which obviously would have put us in a tremendous shape. But now you got 5 out of 7. We've been awfully good in this building. We're getting ready to play 2 teams that had their way against us, especially Oregon, in the first go-around. So we've got 2 teams that beat us pretty good in their building. So we've got to return that favor, and that's not going to be easy. But we've been really good in this building, and if we can stay consistent in this building, we'll put ourselves in a chance. I think 2 weeks ago we were in the mid to upper 60s in RPI. Now we're in the mid 40s. So we've done a lot of good work in the last 2 weeks to kind of set ourselves up in the last 3-week stretch. And there's a lot of teams throughout the country, they're waiting on conference tournaments to make it happen. We're 3 weeks to conclusion and we're still in the mix and we're still fighting, and that's always exciting. So we're playing good basketball. We've won 6 out of 7 with Tony in the lineup. He's playing at a high level, so hopefully we can have another good practice today and have a good week. We need a good week. This has got to be beating 2 teams that have beaten us, and that's not an easy thing to do. But if we can get it to a 5-game schedule to where now we're 8-5, we've really put ourselves in a good shape.
Even with the loss this past weekend, is this as confident as you've been with the way the team is playing?
Absolutely, absolutely right. Because I really feel that. Looking at the tape again, I thought I'd see, whether it was fatigue or, a lot of bad turnovers or poor execution or, a lot of things that you see out of young teams. But I didn't see that in either game. I thought Stanford, they're not so deep, but they got a lot of experience. And they gave us, the last 8 minutes, they gave us everything Stanford's got. And we withstood it. We probably got a little too cautious as a team, and our guys learned from that. And I thought maybe less than 2 days later we'd see a drop in energy or intensity, and we didn't. I thought we played even harder with even more intensity against Cal, and so those are really positive signs. And we're seeing guys, I think, being really confident now at both ends of the floor. So I think we're healthy, for a team that's had to play a lot of minutes. I think we're seeing legs come back, and so all those things have been really positive. It's just, the anxiousness now of playing 2 teams that beat us pretty good. We've got to find ways of correcting that going into the next 2.
The situation at the end of the Cal game, that last shot by Bryce, how much of that is something that you script and drill, where there's a couple seconds left on the clock and a missed free throw maybe, and how much is
Well, I've always been somebody that with less time, I like playing out of those situations. He's got a really good look. I mean, if you look at tape, he got a great look. If he'd been maybe a step closer, it'd been even better. But I thought we did a really good job of rebound, outlet, go. The defense doesn't get a set. If you call, again, You can do it a lot of different ways. But I've always liked playing it out instead of calling a timeout. If we were even, if the game was even, maybe it's a little different. If it's an even score, possibly call a timeout just to make sure we don't turn the ball over. Maybe throw it to half court and call time. There's a lot of different things when you're even. But when you're behind, the last thing I want is the defense to get set. They can switch 5 ways. They think about fouling. You know, there's a lot of different things that come into play. So being down, if you're down, I like to go with it. And I thought we did a really good job with that. You got to get the free throw block out first. And you see a lot of teams lose on free throw block outs. So we got that. We got it to Bryce, and he did a really good job of pushing it. And I thought I got a pretty good look at the end.
It looked like on that play you might have had Isaac on the other end of the
Yeah,
floor.
well, he really did. It's just you make that pass, you don't know if you get a shot off. You know, you've only got less than 5 seconds to go. So, absolutely. But if you're a player and you get an outlet and you know there's 4 seconds, you got to go with it. And I think even if a pass was made, probably Isaac's just getting a runner there or might not even get the shot off. So you definitely want to get a shot off. And I thought he created a really good shot and had a good look at it.
Cool.